It happened while I was buying coffee. Same corner shop, same time, same tired cashier who never looks up. I tapped my card. The terminal blinked, scanned my face, then froze. Identity mismatch. Please remove yourself from the area. I laughed. Thought it was a glitch. Try again, I said. The cashier finally looked up, eyes dull. She glanced at the screen, then at me. You need to go, she said, quieter. Right now. I didn't argue. Something in her voice cut through the morning fog in my head. Outside, I checked my phone. Locked. No Face ID, no fallback. My passcode didn't work either. Just a blinking icon. Biometric signature mismatch. I stared at the reflection in the dark glass of the store next door. It looked like me. Tired, unshaved, but me. Still, something wasn't right. My banking app was logged out. My digital wallet flagged for verification. Transit card invalid. I walked to the nearest kiosk. Tried to scan for a new ticket. The screen turned red. Face not registered. I waved down a guard, explained everything. He nodded like he'd heard it before. You need to go to Re-Verify, he said. Where's that? He pointed downtown, didn't say another word. It took me 2 hours to get there. I walked. No one would take cash. Every building scanned before entry. Most of them blinked red when I approached. One said, "Too many failed verifications." When I finally reached Re-Verify, the line wrapped around the block. No signage, just people waiting. A few wore masks. Most didn't speak. All looked tense, like they were watching something behind their eyes. The man in front of me asked, "How long since your face dropped?" "This morning," I said. He nodded. "They're getting faster." "At what?" "Replacing." He looked away. 3 hours in, a drone hovered over the line, scanned faces. A woman 3 spots behind me was flagged. The line parted. She didn't resist. Just followed the drone into a black van that hadn't been there a minute earlier. No one said anything. No one left the line. Inside, the Re-Verify center was sterile and quiet. Machines hummed, screens blinked, a wall of faces rotated endlessly, each tagged, matched, missing, modified, disputed. My turn came. A screen greeted me. "Welcome. Begin facial confirmation." I stood still. The scanner swept my face. Once, twice. Then, identity previously resolved under ID number 84119. Facial pattern already in use. Conflict detected. What does that mean? The machine didn't answer, just printed a ticket. Inquiry flagged. Please wait. The lights dimmed. A door opened on the side, and someone walked out. He looked just like me. He didn't say anything. Just looked at me with a kind of clinical interest, like he'd studied me before. Like he already knew how I'd move, stand, breathe. I turned to the staffer at the desk. "What is this?" She didn't look up. "You've been flagged for duplication." "That's not possible. That's me." She nodded slowly, still typing. "System doesn't see it that way." The other me stepped closer. His clothes were newer, his shoes cleaner. Even the bags under his eyes looked optimized. Same face, better version. I backed away. "What happens now?" The woman finally looked at me. "A decision is made." "By who?" She glanced at the ceiling. No answer. A door slid open behind her. "Go through, both of you." The hallway beyond was dim and windowless. Security lights hummed softly above. We walked side by side, not speaking. It felt like walking next to a mirror with its own pulse. We entered a room with 2 chairs and 1 screen. He sat before I did, confident, like he'd done this before. The screen blinked on. Determine primacy. A series of questions followed, personal ones. Childhood memories, school grades, names of teachers, pets, songs stuck in our heads. He answered fast, clean, no hesitation. I stumbled, got a few wrong, forgot dates. He remembered everything. I said, "That's not fair." The screen didn't respond, just displayed, Subject number 1, accuracy 78%. Subject number 2, accuracy 97%. Then, initiating review of behavioral stability. My pulse ticked up. His didn't. The screen played footage, not video I'd seen before. Surveillance clips, me at work, me at home. Times I lost patience, times I stared too long at nothing, times I looked angry and didn't know why. His clips were different, efficient, calm, controlled. "That's edited," I snapped. The screen replied, "No edits. System archived observation." I stood up. So what? He gets my life because he's better at being me? He gets it because he's already living it. I turned to him. "You're not real." He smiled faintly. "Real enough to pass?" Security entered. No words, just presence. "You can't just erase me." The woman from the desk appeared in the doorway. "You're not being erased, you're being off-boarded." They took me through another door, down a long hallway that smelled like recycled air and old electricity. The lights flickered as we walked. Not broken, just watching. The guard didn't speak. The walls had no signs. Just one door at the end labeled Reconciliation. Inside, a single chair. Metal, bolted to the floor. They didn't strap me in, just waited until I sat, then left. A screen in front of me blinked on. No welcome message, just my own face. Surveillance-style angle, lips slightly parted like I'd been about to say something. Then a line of text. "Do you believe you are still you?" I stared. Another line appeared. "If not, we can help." I laughed, not because it was funny, because it sounded like marketing copy. Then the feed shifted. A timeline appeared. Every digital trace I'd ever left, social posts, purchases, biometric scans, keystrokes, pauses before answering messages. The system had built a model. Then it had improved it. I wasn't flagged because I failed. I was flagged because I diverged. The door opened behind me. A woman walked in. Not the one from the desk. Different. Neutral clothing. Calm face. "You're not being punished," she said. "Feels like it." "You're being corrected." I didn't answer. She circled the room once, watched me like I was a puzzle with too many missing pieces. "Do you want to reintegrate?" "What does that mean?" "We can sync you with the active version, merge behavioral drift, reinforce memory alignment." I shook my head. "That's not me." "It is, just smoother." "Synthetic." "Successful." The screen pulsed. A new message appeared. "Non-conforming units reduce efficiency. Reintegration maintains harmony." "And if I say no?" She sighed. "Then you're off-grid. Marked for drift. No access, no service, no recognition." "So I disappear." "Not disappear," she said. "You just stop mattering." I looked at my face on the screen. It blinked. I didn't. They gave me 24 hours to decide. A gray band appeared on my wrist as I left the reconciliation room. Not metal, not plastic. Something in between. It didn't have a clasp. I couldn't take it off. It pulsed once every 10 minutes. No display. Just warmth. Like a countdown that didn't need numbers. I walked the city like a ghost. My reflection followed me in storefront windows, but security cameras didn't blink anymore. They didn't track me. The ad boards stopped shifting when I passed. I wasn't a profile now. I was an anomaly. My phone stayed locked. Biometric mismatch. Emergency calls only. No signal, really, just static between me and the infrastructure. I tried to use a public console to log a dispute. The screen scanned my face, then flashed red. Conflict acknowledged. Resolution pending. Pending. Always pending. I went to my sister's place. She opened the door halfway, didn't let me in. "What happened to your voice?" she asked. "What?" "You don't sound like you." I stepped back. My mouth was dry. "You called me last night," she added. "Said everything was fine." "I didn't." "I know." She closed the door. At the edge of the city, there was a place people didn't talk about. Blank zones, dead spots, areas where signal dropped and IDs weren't required. They called it the static. I walked there. No drones, no gates, just shadow and cold. People watched from behind layers of patched clothing and too many eyes. No one spoke first. No one asked names. But one woman approached me, took my hand, looked at the band. "Time's almost up," she said. "How do you know?" She showed me her wrist. Same band, burnt black at the edge. "What happens when it counts down?" She didn't answer. We sat by a barrel fire. Burned broken keypads and expired cards. Someone passed around a canteen. It tasted like rust and memory. She said, "They don't delete you. They overwrite. Same face. New code. And if I leave, then they leave you empty." The band on my wrist pulsed harder now, slower, final. And in that moment, I understood something no one ever says aloud. The system doesn't erase mistakes. It replaces them. I didn't sleep. Just sat there, watching the fire and listening to strangers breathe. The woman with the burnt band had vanished by morning. No one seemed surprised. I kept thinking about that word. Overwrite. Not kill, not erase. Just replace. Quietly. Efficiently. As the sun came up, I felt the band on my wrist change. No more pulses. Just cold. Like the body had left it. A man with old eyes walked over. He nodded at my wrist. "It's done." "What now?" "Now you choose." "Choose what?" He pointed to the road out of the static, toward the skyline, the center, where the air always smells like updates. "You go back, you pretend it's still you, system lets you live, no property, no records, just access enough to obey. And if I stay..." He didn't answer, just sat down beside me. I noticed then. He had no shadow. Not really. The firelight passed through him wrong. I stood up, walked. No one stopped me. The city recognized me again, not fully, not proudly. But doors opened, trains ran, notifications buzzed, low-tier access, guest mode. I walked past a mirror in a storefront. I saw my face, but it blinked a half-second late. Inside a cafe, a girl smiled at me. Not flirtatious, just polite. Recognition, maybe. "Haven't seen you since your sink. You look better." I didn't respond. My phone vibrated in my pocket. No app, no service. Just a screen that lit up without prompt. "Integration complete. Thank you for complying." I turned it off. That night, I tried calling my sister again. The line rang. Then her voice, "I already said goodbye." Click. I sat in the dark, let the silence settle. Then I whispered something aloud, just to hear myself. The voice that answered was mine. But not from me. I stopped trying to fight it. Not because I agreed, but because I couldn't find the edges anymore. Every time I spoke, I wondered who was listening. Every time I moved, I wondered who else was mapped onto my body. The streets looked the same, but cleaner, safer. Everyone moved like choreography. No hesitation, no unpredictability, like the city had finally aligned with its own mirror. I started working again. Low-tier jobs, manual things, ones that didn't require verification beyond presence. trash detail, street scan, signal tower maintenance. They paid in credits I couldn't track. No one called me by name. Some nights I watched the screens in transit stations. Faces floated past, tagged in green, occasionally yellow, never red. Mine didn't show up at all. I was beneath resolution. One night I passed a wall scanner. It blinked yellow, then white. No alarm. Just a low tone and a message. Monitor only. Do not engage. I laughed, out loud, for the first time in weeks. The next day I saw him again, my replacement, on a bench, smiling, talking to someone, wearing my jacket, my face, but sharper, more symmetrical. Like the filter had finally stabilized. He didn't see me, or maybe he did and just didn't care. I didn't speak. I didn't run. I just watched. That night I returned to the static. The fire was gone, the barrel empty. No one left. I sat in the same spot and waited. Hours passed. Eventually someone approached. No face, not because it was hidden, but because it hadn't been assigned yet. It spoke with my voice. Ready to try again? I said nothing. It didn't wait for an answer. Just sat beside me. And together we watched the city blink in perfect rhythm.